like, I just want like I want like a catch up and see like where you've been since like everything that happened over the break and or over December and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's like catch up and then because I wasn't sure what we wanted to talk about or how we wanted to do this, but as usual, I'm sure something will come of it.
Always. It always does.
Push this stuff out of the background. Um, Baby, will you move that? Thank you.
That's what Julia always does to me too. That smile.
Okay, so yeah, short answer is honestly I'm doing really, really well right now.
Good.
I feel like all of that catapulted me into just next level, you know, like it had to. I can see the wisdom of my higher self saying, look, here's an option. You can go through something really hard, but you're going to learn shit so fast that you probably won't even ever, you wouldn't have been able to even access that level of your vulnerability had you not gone through it. And I can see myself going, yeah, as long as I can see that I'll make it through it, I'll choose that. Like,
oh man,
I'm so done with taking long ass time healing.
yeah. Oh my God. I have the same energy as you, just like fuck things, kind of like fuck it. I'm over that shit. Like I mean, you could probably just feel it in my feel right now, you know. I'm just like over it. But so okay, what's interesting is of course you went through it head first and now you're feeling better, which to me, all of us that like really see you, you know, and feel your energy, we're all just like fuck yeah, because that means like that means some shit's coming for us. I do feel the like, even though we're like collaborators and we're creating this new world together, I still feel really comfortable in our role of how we initially met, where you go first just because that's your design. You know what I mean? And I'm realizing when I study your stuff, like it's making me so much happier in my lane, which seems to be like the artistic expression of that in which we're going through, you know? So it's like, so I totally feel you. I feel like I'm just like, I'm over this being so long, but I'm kind of like, I'm about to go to a whole next level, you know, because you have to, you kind of have to. If you don't, you're just going to suffer.
I was going to say, when you said you're getting a lot happier in your lane, I feel like that's a big part of how you know if you're in abundance or not, if that's what you're moving towards. Because Kinsey reminded me of this. Thank you. She reminded me of this the other day, that something that I teach in the abundance matrix, which I honestly, for some reason, haven't said in a long time or really thought about. But when she said it, I was like, duh, like there's a reason I put that in there, which is that when you're in lack, being different and being like uniquely in your space is often a source of your pain. Whereas when you're in abundance, being unique, being different, being in your own thing is your source of abundance. It's your source of joy. So it's like when you can flip it like that, it's, I don't know, it shows your writing, and it's where the new matrix is, the abundance matrix, because there's not competition there. It's collaboration. And the better we collaborate, I think, is in many ways determined by how we each individually uniquely click into our unique like rhythm, our unique creative impulse, you know?
Yeah, and unique being the operative word, because like I'm telling you, I'm getting a Gene Keys reading tomorrow. I can't wait because I'm so invested in like my unique whatever like DNA, because I'm telling you, like I don't think that there is someone for me to look at and like really emulate. And I think that that's the whole point. You know what I mean? Like that's literally the whole point. But I'm just like, dude, this is like hard right now. Like everything is hard, and the only place I feel really good is my art. That's the only place I feel really, really, really good, and I'm okay with that feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Those sounds in the background will pick up hardcore, like bags and stuff like that. Sorry. Thank you, baby. Sorry.
How's his rock hounding? Can you hear me?
Yeah. How's your rock hounding, baby?
Slow, because everything's frozen solid.
Everything's solid. So slow right now. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has anything to do with like collectively what's going on, frozen solid things, not, you know what I mean? Like maybe there's a reason he's supposed to be just like not out there right now. I don't know.
Well, we've been doing a lot of on location. Like I've been filming way more outside, and I've been blocking off days where we can just go on location and I can film and he can rock hound if he wants. But one thing I've realized being out in these really cool places at this time of year, and when I tune in, I'm realizing, because I've been bringing crystals. We decided to have like you'll like this, like a council of crystals with us.
Yeah.
On. We found pounds of agate, but we couldn't take it.
Oh yeah, we found pounds of agate in Goblin Valley, but you can't take it from Goblin Valley. So
right. Oh my God.
But what I realized, that whole concept of like frozen or asleep, when I was in Goblin Valley, the thing that felt so clear to me, and not just Goblin Valley, I don't know if you saw the video I did where I'm at the top of the waterfall and there's to me.
Yeah.
That in particular, and I had this fluorite in it in the video, and I kept feeling, especially on that, because I was literally sitting on ice on the river, and there's a tornado of fire for me on top of the ice, and the water's running underneath it. You can feel the water moving and going off. The trippiest vibration. And we did it right at sunset. So we hiked up there. It just ended up being so freaking beautiful. But what I felt so strongly is that the rocks, nature itself, but the rocks contain data, literally hold data that we just haven't learned how to access yet. But there are people who like you, who have kind of for whatever reason, just like a connection with them. It's almost like the subtle energy in the crystals shift your vibration in a way that locks you into your grip. You know, it's subtle. It works like with the subtle body, but there's something about what I was going to say is the information being paused and frozen right now. Because what I felt was like an enormous amount of activity on the astrals and people reaching for information. They want to know what's going on because they're trying to leverage it so that they don't get hurt or they don't suffer. So it's coming from fear. It's coming from this grabbing, a lot of people are active magically, like in the astrals, but it's coming from fear. And there's this like close down nature's doing. It's like, nope, like this, like if you move in fear, that's when you rape me. You know what I mean? And I felt that, like, even for me, anytime I've tried to tune in, the whole reason I started going on location, and I heard really strongly, just deliver messages, just channel it through. And my logical brain was like, but no, I need to be promoting this and doing this. And, but I heard so strongly, deliver the messages that need to be delivered, and do it from no other place than where you're urging to go. Yeah. So if I'm urging to go there, it means it's going to do something for me as well. And obviously I'm surrounded by rocks everywhere I've gone, and because it's been in the mountains everywhere so far. But I just heard that, like, we got to be chill and calm and not take action from fear. Yeah. Because not even nature is going to support it anymore. That's the energy that it's flinging off.
It's crazy. It's crazy, right? Because it kind of feels almost a little cold until you look into it. It's obviously not cold. It's nature being natural. But yeah, it does feel kind of cold, like cold shoulder energy. Like I feel whenever I fall into I've had like the past 5 days uber creative, and whenever I've fallen into, okay, now I got to add some unnaturalness to this natural expression of mine, it's like, no, stop it, like don't even disrespect me like that. Exactly. You know, it's pretty crazy.
A good way to put it, cold shoulder. It's the dragon energy to me.
It is, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like slithery, like, you know, misunderstood, but the people who get it will understand it. The people who are staying above and following it will understand what's going on.
Yeah, or the people who are connecting to their kundalini. I think if we get tantric, if we get in pleasure, if we get like out of the head and into the body and into the genitals, like literally down in our bodies, I think that's also a way to like move with it instead of warring with it or trying to play chess with it or trying to control it, or, you know, it's just a different way to work with life.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I had a session with Rachel. Thank God that you connect me. Like, See, like my work with you feels like such a certain lane, and then my work with Rachel's feels like, I think I told her this. It feels like like I'm at an ayahuasca ceremony and she is ayahuasca. It's kind of that, like that energy for me that she gives to me, especially with all the shit that I've been going through and that I've always gone through with my life, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to like see someone seemingly, again, you never know them, but seemingly so in her like prowess. Like, yeah, it's cool. It's so cool.
How was it? How was the session?
It was rad. We really went there immediately, you know, me like transparent as hell. I just went there with her, and she just like, you know, she has this energy where she pulls it in a warm, loving way out of you. I said she kind of reminds me of like Glenda the Good Witch. Like, you can't be scared with Glenda on your team. Is that her name, Glenda? You can't be scared with her on your team because she's like, she'll slay any devil you think is there. You know,
that's a great
so
way to describe her.
She had me write out my fears actually every single day for these past 2 weeks. And I'm going to see her again tomorrow. She had me write out my fears. And at first I was writing, and it was like scary to write them because I didn't want them, whatever I'm talking about, to feel like it's like I'm attracting it, you know? But that really taught me the difference between something you say and write versus something you feel. You know, that taught me the difference between, like, I guess resonance is what you would say. Cause like I wasn't resonating with what I was writing, but I was writing it down.
Yep.
I was resonating with the opposition of that. So that helped big time.
Yeah. She's going to be a good one. I know she's basically kind of closing out doing one-on-ones. So it's really cool that you got in with her, because I could feel as soon as you asked about it, I was like, she would be such a good match for where you're at. She's working with Urge in particular.
Oh, you know? Man, she is. And I feel like I have every prerequisite. That's actually down what I want to talk to you about right now. Is I'm wondering if you're feeling this, because I'm tapping into this what's next type energy. And I've also been picking up on, you don't go against the natural grain right now. So basically you follow your peace of mind and your joy and what's natural to you. And so I've been thinking that as long as I have all my I's dotted and all of my T's crossed, meaning do all the 3D shit that kind of sucks, like pay the bills, like do whatever, get ready as ready as you can, and then just sit and it's okay. Like just sit, and you're almost like ahead of the game. That's how I'm feeling right now. Mm-hmm. And like similarly, like nothing is really happening in my face right now, but it's all happening like in my body, you know. There's a lot shifting that I don't even think I'm conscious of. So it's a lot. I do feel like I'm going through something similar to what you went through in December.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, everything is triggering except for my art. That's like the only thing, you know what I mean?
What a powerful place to be then. Like, what a powerful use to just be in your art.
I know. And it's just making me feel like I just don't care anymore. I just don't care about the shit that was holding me back for so long, you know?
Yeah. You know what I found what December taught me, and what going through those loops, like right when you're at a space where everything's triggering the shit out of you and you just like can't find that set, especially if you can only find it in your art. To me, it's showing you're transcending a level of your lack matrix, of your fears, of like, because every time right before we break through another level, we come up against all the reasons, all the deeply held beliefs we had that kept us in that realm, in that space. And so a lot of it is where we've given our power to. Those beliefs are our gods. And so challenging that, it's like when you have to really let go of the thing that was making you feel valid or good or whatever because you believed in it, or whatever equation that is. If it's dissolving, it's going to feel vulnerable and it's going to feel scary. And we naturally reach out towards like what's going to soothe, what's going to validate us, all of that, you know. But when you get to the point where you have nothing that you can really in the external that you can do that to, except for your own art, that's where you gain confidence in yourself and confidence in your relationship with your own urge.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, well spoken. I totally feel that. And then add a partnership to that, which you now are entered into. And also you guys feel, by the way, so like this, more like this. Not that you never felt like that, but just hearing your guys' interaction right now, it feels like, oh, individual worlds working and now co-working. Yeah, that's how it kind of feels.
Put us in a new space, what we went through in December.
For sure.
New space together.
Yeah. And same with me and Julia too. Like, we're really good at getting through these phases, but at the end of the day, they are phases. They're rhythms, they're cycles of like downs. And so we're working on like trying to actually write that rhythm out, like write that cycle out, on paper and see what that is. And then like next time we're in it, be like, oh, this is like around that 3-month mark. That's typically what happens.
Yep.
Everything's cyclical.
Our pattern is, this is what we do. And then you can be preemptive and be like, I know you need it. We're getting there. Like, he went and sat in the hot pots in these springs last night for like 3 hours. I'm like, yep, you need that. You need to be alone. You need to sit in the hot, and that's his favorite thing to do.
Oh yeah.
I like it, but it's cold as shit right now. So do it.
Hey, what is it there? It's probably freezing.
It was like 14 degrees yesterday, and it was windy, and he went.
Oh no. But he loved it, huh?
Yeah, he loved it. He was there for like almost 3 hours.
Oh wow.
So we're starting to learn like where I feel like I just hijacked your conversation.
No, go. I'm into that. I want to hear it.
It just resonated with me what you said, because I once you get the patterns of how you move and then what you need, and if you can respect what you both need and put like individually know that your sovereignty matters most, and what your needs matter more than mine, and my needs matter more than yours, like our individual needs, having that permission, I think is just huge. We've both said it, like we wouldn't have survived what we just went through if we didn't have that permission already established.
Man, that word permission is so important, isn't it? Like, even like knowing when someone's a permission slip for you, and how that can be an okay thing and a good thing. Like Rachel, for example, right now is my permission slip to just be a little bit more fuck you, like a little bit more fuck you energy. And it's not in a way that I actually am angry. It's just I'm fronting. No, I'm not fronting. I'm facing that same thing that wants to bring me down with its same energy, just like, Yeah. So I love that idea. I love that thought of permission. I don't know why. I mean, it's because you've been a permission slip for me too. And I feel like I'm stepping into my role as a permission slip for other people. Yeah.
And you're stepping into it big time. And for a different group of people, like every time I feel your tribe and your vibe, it's like it's fresh. It's young as in like a green leaf that just is like time popping up,
Totally.
But you feel that it's like, ooh, this is new life coming on. New type of people that are gonna hold down a strong vibe of like, they're done with the bullshit. They don't even like, it makes no sense to them anyway.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Can we play with that for a second? Because I was thinking about your tribe when I saw I've been following I still place you in the same place that I've had you, where you come out with a video, and I know it's divine timing for me to hear those downloads, because that's the way our energies work together. And then it seems like I come and support that by living it out, or artistically making something from it. I don't know, exemplifying it, whatever. But anyway, so I was thinking about yours, and like yours is it has more of a, oh man, your following grew. And it also has more of a loyalty to it, like a deep loyalty to it.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, isn't it? It's
a lot recently. Like I feel like something happened in the Astros. I definitely put out hey, I'm vulnerable. Like I put it out. I let it, because I usually wouldn't let it be known, but I let it be known. Even not that I got on YouTube and said anything, but I let it be known in the Astros, because I can feel how deeply people who watch me feel me.
I know. Yeah.
So, and normally I kind of block that out, because it's like almost unnerving, because I can feel some of these empaths are even so much more of an empath than me. And I know how deeply I can feel people. And I know, like, it's like being naked in front of people. Like, you have to really trust somebody to let them look at you that deeply. And I feel like something that happened to me psychologically recently is let people look at me deeper. So it's not even anything I did or said. The Tantric Entrepreneur Group was part of that. And one of the women in there, I remember when I was doing readings, she talked about how she sees me so deeply and she's wanted to like reach out to me, but she felt this wall. And I was talking about how, yeah, because I could feel that there were people in the group that could see me that deeply, and it unnerved me. It made me, it brought up all that to say, I feel like what has shifted for me recently is I just kind of have let that be seen. And what I felt was this, I'm seeing like literally this blue light come in. It's like all these empaths protected me big time. You did, Megan did, Teal did. When I was going through that, I couldn't believe Rachel did, like Emily Modkiss, people that just like came in and just surrounded me. And then I felt like even though people who watch me that didn't necessarily know anything that happened and still don't know anything that happened, they were there because I've been tracking this psychic conversation. I felt this massive protection come in for me from people who watch me, from all of you guys. And I was just like, it helped me go to a deeper level of trust with like, okay, I can get more intimate now. Because I feel like there's this really powerful algorithm that has been established that's like I can feel people are protecting me. I don't feel vulnerable anymore.
Yeah.
And you kind of started that when you came in. I remember you saying, I just feel this like urge to protect you, like astrally speaking. And I needed it. I wouldn't be able to go to where I'm going without that there. So I like really, I kind of feel emotional about it, you know, it feels kind of amazing.
It is. I mean, it's super beautiful. It's fun, but it's the payback that you get from you putting yourself there. You know, like that's the whole point. We always eventually get here in our conversations, but I do know what you mean. Like that first conversation we had on the phone I was in Utah too, actually. And, it felt like it was such a divine time that it was like one cog to turn many other cogs for you. Yeah. And then I started seeing everything kind of your work shift a little bit of like basically like potential energy through the roof. You know, and now I feel like you've kind of left that and now just actualizing. Actualizing.
That's what it feels like. And you remember the call we had where you were like, I feel like you just put out the call for your team.
Yeah.
That is what happened.
Yeah.
Like this next round of the Tantric Entrepreneur Group.
I'm excited.
Like each week, someone's going to be talking that's from the group that has worked with me. Like worked doing their stuff with me, you know, and I realized we have so many brilliant freaking people in that group.
My God.
I was talking to Wendy this morning. She's going to be also talking about organizing your business. She did a session with me this morning, which was phenomenal. I was sitting there thinking, why did it take me so long to realize I need to work with empaths?
Right.
Like if I'm going to hire anybody, I like criteria is they need to also be an empath because they get me at such a deep level.
Right.
She could hold space that like someone who just purely like linear mind, they don't get that you even need, you know, like I couldn't even believe it. But this next group, this next round, I can feel is just this like, it's like a mastermind, kind of what we've been talking about. Like it feels like and I can't wait to see what it evolves into, especially after, you know, based on our ideas, whatever we end up doing with them. Like
for sure. Oh my God. I think with us, like, I was thinking about that because I like the way we work because it's like so fluid and flow, you know, and I think it's going to come up organically. And I don't know if it'll come in this conversation, but I think what it is like almost like, imagine there's this, I have an image of in the astral realm. Imagine like two parents in the astral realm, really comfortable people who've done that before. And do you remember as a little kid, I don't know if you ever did this, but grab both of your parents' hands and like they swing you. I don't know if you've ever seen that in a movie or just like, it's just a vibe, you know what I mean? You feel you're having fun and it's your parents and it's a whole thing. I kind of want to do that with you for everyone in the group, just like swing the shit out of their energy, like almost like run around and slap their ego silly, like just slap everything they've all been fearful silly. Because, you know, and who knows what that looks like actually, but that's the feel I want to pull through.
Me too. I love that you said that because I also keep hearing, I mean, I have so many ideas coming. Like there's so much coming in the future. It's crazy. But
I know.
One thing I feel clear about is like we collectively need a divine laughter. Like we need to laugh our asses off at ourselves. It's like if we could just slightly turn it, because we get addicted to drama, unfortunately, and so we get addicted to the chemicals in it and everything. And you know, when you laugh so hard that you cry, like when you laugh so hard, no sound's coming out, and it hurts your stomach, because it's that kind of a laugh. Like that's what I keep feeling. We need to laugh so hard that we shake out the trauma and the trauma, and like loosen up a little and neutralize a little bit, and realize like we have everything we need. Everything's lined up. People have been doing the work for so long and planting the seeds for so long, and we don't even realize how much is for us right now. We don't even see what's about to come. We can't even see it coming. And it's just like, if we could just neutralize just enough. I kind of want to do that, like you said, run through, slap everyone's ego, and just laugh. Laugh. Let's laugh our ass off, because
I love it.
We're gonna need it. We're gonna need to laugh. I think it's a superpower.
Whenever I get really high, me and my sister, we do that all the time. We laugh our asses off at our ego excels.
Best part about being high.
and how funny. Like my ego is so funny. Like my ego loves drama TV. I mean, all egos do, but mine is like so I'll see two birds flying in the air and they're flying a little off, and I'm like, does that mean anything to do with my life? You know, it's just like, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. But on the plus side is I'll drive by and I'll see a number stick out to me, and I'll look up that spiritual like number, what that means vibrationally. And then it's a message that always resonates. So it's like, it's just like anything with ego. It's like, yes, your ego's a bullshit artist, but at the same time, it's part of you, and it's also part of your beauty too. So we need some of that, like you're right, neutralization.
And
neutrality.
That you can take the same thing and just do something different with it. That same ego can like just help you recognize the poetry in all things. I think there is something about being that intimate with life that you see two birds and you see yourself in it. But then there's the other side of it, where the drama side of it, where we almost have to make something out of nothing to feel significant. You know?
And if anyone's listening and is like really relating, it's that egoic part of you that is so close to being accurate for your life, but always leaves you being alone. That is not the voice that you're listening. That is not the one. You know what I mean? That one is the one that's alone and safe and protected. That's not the one that you listen to. You know what I mean? The one that makes you feel like you have to be solid. Solidarity is no, you know. So communion is the opposite of that, which is what you teach in like the spiral tech stuff. You know where I want to go with you really quickly? Is I would love your insight on, I want to tell you a little bit about what I've been going through artistically. Because I'm like having so many downloads through that, like I've been mentioning this whole call, and I think that you'll have, of course, insight for me that I need to hear. So when I first found you, I started out with an alter ego named Ray, right? The whole thing, and the way my energy and my favorite industry and my favorite concept, my favorite type of person is a musical artist. Like, I watched so many interviews and so much shit of actual musicians, you know? And so I was trying to come back online on YouTube earlier this month, and I just couldn't do it. And I was like, what's going on? I was like, oh, Ray has been integrated now. It's no longer Ray. It's Ricky again. So now I went through my YouTube playlisted it all, and called it my debut album. Like that was my debut album, you know? And so now I'm coming back, and this is this conversation, all the posts I've been doing. I wrote all about it on my Instagram. This is my sophomore album. And it's taught me that my work isn't to be so on the nose. Like basically, that's like okay, let me get a little bit more here on earth with this. Like my B+ work is like my group type work, and my conversations about actual empathetic things and like this kind of thing. But my A+ work is my poetry, my artistry, you know? And so I envision myself making money and sustaining a life for myself by having an idea, creating something out of it, whether that be a poetry book, a journal, a game, a oracle deck, a whatever, and I just have all the myriad of things on my website. And I basically want to flip capitalism on its head and make all of these free to $99 sources of therapy out there for the world. Anything I do has transmutable therapeutic power, whether that be I come out with a line of essential oils or I have a fucking oracle deck, you know, whatever it is. Or Amanda, I have this dream of like, when, like, if let's say I had like tons of followers or something, or just a big sales channel, and I create a PDF that moves someone's energy from here to here, to restore it, and charge like 99 cents for it. Just boom, send it free. Cause like all of my thoughts come for free. So I want to share them. And so that's what's been helping me. But I want to get your take on that, because something that I see myself kind of getting stuck with is the fact that my communication style, my poetry, my artistry, my creating everything and putting it in an album form is so layered that I'm having trouble, especially as a manifester, I'm having trouble feeling like that is good enough. The fact that 99% of my people will maybe not even understand me, but they'll love me so much that they might, you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so can you tap into that? Cause that's been something that I'm like,
You know what? It's kind of weird that you're the third person just within the last 3 days who've said that same thing in a different way. But the idea of like, I'm trying to understand my value. Like, I know I have value, but like, how does that value translate into value that I'm offering that I could charge for? And obviously that's a simple way to put it. But what I keep seeing, and you nailed it when you were talking about imbuing everything that you give and you put out there and you create with abundance, essentially, with the code of restoration.
Yeah.
And what that actually is, and this is the part of abundance that I think we're learning to really get, it is resonance. And what you create, the energy you create from is what you imbue it with. And we create so many things that just have little like anchors of lack in them. So some abundance might come in, but then we get a pullback because there's this subconscious belief that was literally attached to that creation because it was born from it, that it's not worth very much, or you're not worth very much, or whatever the storyline is, or there's not enough, or people, whatever the lack line is, it's in it. And so something about mastering the art of birthing something with as much, imbuing it with as much abundance as possible. Like, even that's why I think like whatever we create from our creative impulses or our creative urge, like how Rachel would say it, whatever we're creating from there, it will sustain us. It's self-sustaining.
Yeah.
The urge itself is life force. It's the gold. It's the value. But we're often like we're creating things like channeling our urge or letting our urge get siphoned off through all these lack back doors. And then whatever's left, we bring to our creation and kind of try to put something together. Instead of like, this was birthed directly from my urge, this thought, this click, this witness. Do you see what I'm saying? And then when we start to see that literally everything we touch and look at, that's the Midas touch. If we can touch and look and witness and speak from that core belief that there's enough, I'm enough, we're enough, we are literally exponentiating abundance.
Wow. Okay. Me and you literally, I was like so zoned in. I want to look back into my eyes. I probably looked crazy because I was so zoned in, and I literally think that me and you literally met up just now.
Yeah.
And you know, because I'm like, okay, so we're really deep right now, and so I have another pivot to this question to even sharpen it. Number one, who the fuck even gets here? Okay, so that's like the first thing. That's hard to even get to where we're at right now because of the lack. You have to have a certain personality trait and whatever. So since we're here right now, I created a journal. It's a blank journal, and it basically prefaces the reader to be like, you are the artist, you are the athlete, you are the architect. You can take this journal, use my prompts, or you can rip my prompts out and scribble all over the journal. This is your journal. And it kind of has this energy. It was created in this resonance of free money for you, free money for you, free money for you, free money for you. And so that one feels like it has a big calling for people, you know?
Yeah.
Now I created this poetry book that I haven't titled it just yet, but basically it's like conversations with God. And it's like, I sat with Mama Ayahuasca, our grandmother Ayahuasca. I went ice skating with my crystals today. Jesus and I had lunch today. So it's so triggering. And it came from this like this trickster energy. So I feel like, okay, so this is where we're at right now. So that one has this resonance of trickster. I guess to take my next step to make my creations come true, I guess what it would be is create it, bind it, make its home, and then just know it's probably only going to go to the tricksters that can understand that, right?
Exactly.
That is a really good lesson for Amanda. You have to somehow write that out in your way of speaking, because it took a while to get there, but that's like a whole new add-on to your tantric thing. I promise.
Yeah.
That's a whole new add-on.
Well, I keep seeing it. I keep getting these visions, like flat out visions, and I don't get visions that often, but I'm seeing it in cartoon form. I'm seeing these like digital, I think it's something I'm going to have someone create for me at some point, because this having the visual helps me understand it so much. But quantum abundance literally means it's encoded into everything. And lack and the linear world, we think of it as like it's here and then we put it here. And it's instead of like, no, if it's encoded in me, then it's encoded in everything I touch. And it's in the new world that I'm in. And so what you just said is such a key part, because if I create something, if the trickster in me creates something that's an expression of itself, the abundant thing to do would be that it would be uploaded to all tricksters.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's an automatic thing. But we have we've lived in the illusion that we're separate. We don't see the quantum reality. Like, we don't get it. But it really actually, the way that it keeps getting downloaded to me, ever since I think I watched What the Bleep Do We Know way back when. Have you ever seen that? It's like it's kind of basics on quantum physics and all of that, just like kind of introduces the idea that like we don't know much at all,
right? And
this is where quantum physics is taking us. But I remember just like, dude, it's almost like there's this brilliant quantum physicist in my brain, but it doesn't take any, because it's actually the most simple truths. It's like the same truth that Jesus spoke from, like about the tiny seed becoming the largest trees. That's abundance. It's that in what we think, but it's actually the most self-evident thing. And it's so simple. And the ego, again, wants to make everything complex because it wants to prove that it's superior or worthy or enough or whatever.
Right.
And that's exactly where we get in these eddies. I know artistically, it's where I was stuck for a long time. I felt like I needed to be significant and I needed to matter. And so I had to figure out what mattered to other people and then master those things. And I was fucking miserable in that world.
For sure. And what's interesting is, number one, I think I just got our first hit and download of what we should do with the group. And that's create an exercise around literally this, create something out of a certain resonance and share it, and then see who resonates with it. You know, whether that be your freaking cat, like whether that be anything, create anything. And I don't want to put any parameters. I don't want it to just be a poem, a post or whatever. Like, create a new meal for your cat or something. I'm just seeing her right here. That's why I keep talking about her. But and whatever resonates back to you is just evidence of what we just said. I don't know. There's something there, but like I feel like that is a okay. So anyway, let me wrap that thought up and then go to what I think the difference in our work is, and I kind of want you to tune in here too, because I'm needing help with my. Well, let me just keep going. The difference in our work is your art form, to me, seems to be translating these astral truths to a way that I'm telling you, a lot of people can understand. If you've ever felt for something, some being outside of yourself, if you are 1% empath, you will understand Amanda Flaker's work, whether you understand it with the 1% or like you understand it to the 99th degree, you know? And I think that, I guess I'm wondering, did you ever have a time where that bothered you or didn't bother you? Is that what you were alluding to? Like that isn't artistic enough, or like that isn't an expression, or that isn't
I think I quite literally, I know, I had no idea what I was or what it was. Like I didn't grow up with these terms. I didn't know what it meant. Like empath now is kind of, it's trending almost. Like it's talked about majorly. Someone was just telling me about a new show on Netflix about like a fairy academy, and one of the fairy superpowers is being an empath. Like that's not something that was ever even talked about when I was young. And even when I first started talking about it, it wasn't mainstream. Like it was kind of just starting to be talked about. So I just quite literally, as I just thought I was an alien. Like I just had, I remember just feeling like I don't even understand. And something about when my mom died, me being young, and I honestly think part of me went with her. Like I know that sounds, it's like I split.
Totally.
And I remember having experiences where I honestly felt like I was in a body, but I didn't know where I was. Like I like not tracking to that extent with myself, being that far, like in another zone, another reality. That, to answer your question, that's why it took me so long to get back to my body. It took me so long. And it sounds weird, but getting back, the deeper and deeper I get into my body, into my urge, into my creative impulses, that's when I'm finding, oh, I channel. Like I just channel. That's what I do, you know?
Totally.
But I didn't know before. I didn't have any idea what I did.
Right. Well, that's what I like about your art. I want to change it just from that to just art. What I like about your art is it's tricky in itself, because you're not like, okay, now and no offense to anyone who does this by any means, but you're not taking it to a point where like, okay, I'm tapping into my Stargate 99 and they're telling me, you know what I mean? You just do that and you don't really talk about it. It's like you act before you speak, even though your work is you speaking. And that's what I like about you. And I think that since it's birthed out of a resonance of, I don't know, truth or abundance, obviously, then lots of people resonate. So that's your world. And that's why I sit so happily in your world where I'm at, you know, like that's why there's no such thing as competition, people. Like that's why there's no such thing here, because our natural ways of being are so different. Like our natural DNAs are so different. And I feel like mine is, yes, speaking and yes, but it's more an artistic way of humanity on display. And I'm still working that out. And I really resonate with what you said, because like literally a couple of nights ago, I realized like, oh shit, like for the majority of my life, I haven't been in my body either. I've been somewhere else. That's part of my blessing, because I'm such a big dreamer, but it's also part of my detriment too. Because it's like, I don't honor myself sometimes because of that. So I really resonate with that. But yeah, like that's such a fascinating conversation to me, like finding your lane, your art lane.
Yeah. Well, and just the thing that I haven't quite pulled all the way through yet, but it's such a big part of what I'm teaching and what I will continue to teach. There is something about the access points we have through our fault lines, like through our experiences where we've been traumatized, where we've had, because experiences create our beliefs. What we've experienced is where we have the strongest subconscious beliefs as well. And this idea that we can change our beliefs, which we can, it's crazy when you think about it, because we are quite literally saying we can reprogram. And I think historically have thought of ourselves as like, we're just this way.
Yeah.
Because we haven't understood human psychology at all.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that to me, the next level of that, like where the abundance matrix just clicks in literally in your auric field, that quite literally makes you a different equation, a different resonance, which quite literally makes you a different match to a different world, a different type of world. It's all in how well we uniquely plug into us, like, and it matters who we are. Like this is where our ego does matter, and this is where I feel like the spiritual world has missed the mark for so long, because it's like, no, be above the ego, or transcend the body, or transcend the urge, or control it, or whatever. But this is like what you just said. No, I'm just going to be divinely human. Divinely meaning let the spirit of source itself animate me, but it's going to animate me through this body, which is where all the experience is. You can't discount the body.
No.
And the body's the record of the experience. It's the memory, not only of us, but our ancestors. So we cannot continue along the path of discounting our humanity and think it's going to be some sort of evolution loop for us.
Right.
It's the exact opposite.
Right.
Like it's the exact opposite. We have to go deep into our humanity. And even in the spiritual world for a while, it was trendy to like be an alien, you know, or I'm a starseed. And there's nothing, I don't think there's anything innately wrong with that, but it came with this elitism. Like it's better to be because humans are like the low subspecies. And I remember one time Teal Swan saying to me, humans are like the celebrities, like for extraterrestrials, like that's why do you think there's so much focus here on Earth? Like just real humans that can just be that authentically in the experience. That's what everyone, that's where the gold is. That's that's what the dragon's protecting. It's all mythically unfolding right now. And that's why like tarot, and I think people are remembering symbols and creating symbols even in their art, because it's part of unlocking the subconscious memory of what we are.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what do you think about wow, I'm still sitting with that, because the starseed thing always bothered me too. Well, you know, the lane I walk is very much boundary like walker. Like don't go too far that way, because that's the same loop. It's like trying to abolish slavery by using slaves to build your empire. Exactly. You know, and it's just like, okay, so no. And so the whole starseed thing was still like, you still are something that you're not right now.
Yes.
It's this like trick. It's like this tricky thing. And I'd sometimes be finding, like looking at YouTube, and I'd be like, these people are like looking for like what type of alien they are and whatever. And I think that that's cool, because you find some type of tribalism with that. But at the end of the day, tribalism has been happening to humans, or we've been identifying with that need to feel as a collective for so long. And so you can choose to go about that either way. Either way, all roads point to the same direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just depends on.
Hey, like you said, we're here in a human body. Even if you are starseed, which I truly believe that exists.
Of course.
But regardless, we came here to be human.
Yeah.
Have a human experience and to live here and to upgrade. I think, at least what I feel, is that part of what I came to do is upgrade the program, to be a part of the polarization. Like I wanted to, my soul likes these. I realized like there's something, it's so funny, because when I moved back to Utah, I was like 4 or 5, oh my gosh, it's been like 5 years now when I started coming back. And I remember my zone that I was in at that time, for real, it was something I realized now that I was channeling. But I was on the zone of like, because I had disconnected. I was so disconnected. I was a total gypsy at the time. I was living in Sedona and Sacramento, traveling to Italy, just traveling really all the time, and doing whatever the hell I wanted. I felt so free, because I owned nothing. I didn't own a car. I didn't own anything. And I made money doing this, so I didn't have to make much.
Wow.
I could just have to go to my next place. And I was in the zone of, I don't care if we blow the world up. Let's blow the motherfucker up.
Right.
I was totally in that zone. I didn't care. I was so done. And it set me free, honestly, being in that. But now I care. It's weird. I'm like, wait, I forgot how much I love this place. Like
totally.
I forgot how much I love what happens in these extreme polarizations of energies, like the kind of art that can be created when we're flipping the script like this. I love flipping the script.
Totally.
Like that's what's happening right now. We're like,
yes. And that's where we are. What's that? Who says this? Where one person can change the mind of another, or improve the mindset of another. 2 people can change the mindset of a room. And I think that that's exactly where me and you hang out, is like we validate each other's thoughts so much that it does resonate with a lot of people. And I think I think we are following spirit when we're having these conversations. So it's just like, it's cool to just be aware of that, because what I do hear you saying when you were at a place where you were like, let's blow this shit up. I take that, right? Someone who seeks truth takes that and hears Like, I love this place so much because of what it is. It's just one thing. We're all just one thing. That, sure, blow it up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And of course now you're like, but now that means, well, I want to help people understand that. And that means ease, comfortable, like kind, just like more soft, you know? So yeah, that's, I don't know. It's just cool. It's all cool. And like, what are we even doing? You know what I mean?
Well, it's just so I've been thinking about how where I was even at the time, I still had the reason why I wanted to blow it up is because I was so over the hive mind. I was so done with, I did not care about pleasing anyone at all, or following suit, or kissing ass, or putting anyone on a pet. I truly was over that to such an extreme that's where I was like done. But what I realized is that I was like letting go of all these tentacles of the hive mind off of me, where I was giving my power to the lack matrix gods, basically, you know? And once I released it all, I was like, I think just like getting back to like the creative impulse of nature itself, you know, of life itself, or like being in nature so much, which is what I've been doing the last 5 years. I feel like, whoa, but life has its own, it's going to urge and it's going to create. And it actually feels better to go close to the urge and ride it that way than stand way out here and get knocked over by the urge, you know?
Wow, my God, that is so true and good. And that's such an easy way to help yourself throughout your day. Just go towards something that is so natural. There's nothing artificial there, like a meadow, something, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Could be a barren land, dirt, you know? It's like, yeah, I know. And every one of my charts that I read and I'm looking into tell me that I download the most when I'm just silent and in nature versus like thinking and in nature. And I think that's a lot of people too. But for me, it's kind of funny because I often forget that, or choose not to remember that is so important to me. And I kind of just like, I plug nature in with a bike ride. So I'm still being physically active, you know? So there is that, and it is healthy for me, but like, it's those times where I drive to the beach for nothing, for no reason, that those are the times that I'm like, whoa, okay, I remember, here's like a reset, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's calling me now. I think it is probably. I should probably do that soon.
Yeah. Like, did you see that video that someone in the group, in the Abundance Matrix group, posted? That girl from Sweden who lives way north. Oh my gosh, I'll have to send it to you. But she's a filmmaker and photographer, and she lives in like the north of Sweden. And her most recent video, she talked about the extreme light, because she lives in a place where half the time of the year the sun only is up for an hour a day. Whoa. And the other half of the time in the summer the sun never sets.
Whoa.
So it's like and she shows like both extreme, and she films it all, including the northern lights in the winter. But it's so artistic and it's so metaphorical. And when I watched that video, my urge was turned on majorly, and I was like, I have to go to the what did she call it? Midnight sun, I think, or midsummer sun or something in Sweden. But the light, when it never goes down, like, but it's nighttime. Like at one point she's hiking at like in the middle of the night. She hiked all through the night, but the sun never went down. But it's not like a sunrise. It's on the horizon and purplish dark heat, you know, like
you're like on top of it. Oh
yeah. But I felt the urge of nature, of life itself. And it's been a while since my urge was that turned on. And I almost forgot. And I was like, oh yes, I haven't felt that in a while, where I'm like, I'm like magnetically drawn. I have to go there. And not even there, like, because they're just meaning that resonance of the where the extreme polarization of life and urge meets. You know what I mean?
Like, yes.
Oh my gosh, the earth.
Yeah.
So epic. This planet is so epic.
So is that what's amping your videos up? Like the fact that you're co-collaborating now with scenery?
Yes. Well, it's funny because I actually watched that video after I had filmed the video on top of the waterfall. And she's in that video, part of it, she's on ice. And she records the sounds that ice makes in the middle of the night. underwater, it sings. It's like these crazy, beautiful sounds. And I watched the video after I had filmed that one, and I had already felt nature calling me. And then someone in the group posted that video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so meant to see this video, because I think Earth wants to be recorded.
Yeah.
Connected to what Rachel said about having tech serve the ancient urge. Because the ancient urge is in her.
Wow. You know? To just record the Earth and say, look at this Earth.
All the codes, and it offers so many codes.
Yeah.
And I remember people always, recently, a lot of people, I think just that loyalty group that you've been talking about, have been messaging me and saying different things. And a lot of people have said, I remember when I first found you and you were by the river. It was this video where you were by the river. So many people talk about the videos where I'm outside and how it just did something to them. Yeah. It's not even about me or what I say. It's like nature wants to be in it wants to be in my videos.
Yes, but yes, and I also think that really sensitive people can appreciate what nature is doing to you in your videos, because I know what video they're talking about, because I'm one of those people. Yeah. Like the ones where you're by that stream and you just hear it in the background and you kind of have to raise your voice a bit, but you're not upset about it because it's just the stream. It's like this beautiful like co-play with this natural setting. Like same, I try to record all my videos when I'm out and about too, because I just feel more comfortable, I think, just with background noise, number one. Yeah. And especially the ocean for me, like and now I'm closer to it, so I can do that. It's so amazing. So that's what's exciting me right now. And I think this will be my last like big thought for you. It's just what's exciting me the most right now is following that, in which you just said, whatever amped you up to a 10, that natural urge, and serving that 100% of the time, like serving that, and meaning when I fall, and I serve the lack, but once I'm conscious of it, I no longer am upset about it. Like, just like, so what's exciting me is how this sophomore album is going, and what the actual creation, the handheld creation is going to be. Because I almost see like all of my albums, there's going to be something that's created. Like this one is going to be the journal, and who knows what else. But I'm just excited to just test it out, show it to people who are following me on YouTube, and like activate others. Just like watch the whole world start turning, you know what I mean? And I love that you said when you tap into my tribe, you tap into like spring, like green spring. Because I feel that.
I do too, big time. And I feel like tricksters too. Like you brought up trickster.
For sure, trickster.
Like when you were talking about being in you mentioned a meadow, but I had this vision of you meditating in a meadow, and this trickster version of you, like a monkey in the trees, like jumping around and then coming up and hitting you on the face.
Yeah.
Meditating, and then up in the tree again.
Yeah.
And creating this playful vibe, but also there's something, I feel like your tribe that are stepping up right now and stepping into their gifts, and they're new, and there's something so like fresh and new, not vulnerable, but new. And there's gonna be, I don't know where this is coming from, but this is what I'm feeling. There's like an earthquake a little bit that happens as you guys come into yourselves.
Yeah.
It's such a challenge to the role you've played your whole life.
Yes.
Big time. Especially the level of sovereignty you're stepping into. And that's why the trickster energy is going to be so massive for you to play with your tribe with. Just be playful, because it's going to help that edge of it, like the true hard, sharp edges of that particular fault line that you're in.
You channeled like exquisitely there, because the way I see that actually happening, I have this like fantasy almost about this happening, and it's obviously what you just said, is that like I love the storyline. Here's my dramatic ass going again, but I love the storyline of, I feel like my following, and I like that it's the size it is now, because I feel like it's attracting people with following, whether that be social or the one where like they're in a room and that person makes the decision. They're like, oh, okay. So that I kind of feel like I feel like we've all been hiding for so long, and we're all like, okay, we're ready to go there, like you said. And I feel like that group of people is my following. So it's not the tons of people, but it's the people who have the turning heads of other people. And I love
faces.
Yes, and I love the storyline of like me and my tribe all coming out as whatever it is to follow your urge, and there being a big earthquake, and like us getting all the shadow contracts released and losing all the following, and then creating something that blows all that mainstream shit out of the water, and it's like free. It's free. It's free. We're like, we could do this in our sleep. It's stupid how easy it is. Like that whole thing. Like I want my life to work where I'm recording YouTube video and I've just woken up around 10 a.m. because I had a night in the astral realm the day before, and I'm working so not hard, and abundance is coming my way, and I want to just slap capitalism like that. Like it's okay, it's good, but just use it the way, So you were like so spot on with that. Yeah, that's even that helped. You're like, it's like being an oracle. Like that is what's happening. That is what's going to happen.
Well, more and more, I feel like my inner being is saying, keep bringing messages through. Like, so, and I can't help it. They just want to come through. So I feel like I'm going to have words. I have words that are going to wake people, wake them up, remind them who they are, and just like flip their algorithm.
Yeah.
Polarize their algorithm. That's it. It's just certain words that I say. And again, I like doing it. I mean, I've been talking to myself since I was a kid. My sisters, they used to like find me in rooms just having full blown conversation for hours. They would just laugh at me because and I still do. When I'm by myself, I talk. Sometimes I'm like, if someone heard me, they would probably wonder about, because I have full on conversations.
Right.
Because I can't help. I just hear. I hear all the time. I'm always doing something.
I get that. Like I used to count my syllables to make me feel grounded. I used to count my syllables, and my mom and dad would always be like, what do you count? Like, why are you doing that? But like what in one world is seen as a crazy ass and someone who needs mental help is now we're just now feeling comfortable. Like this is just how it is. It's crazy around here. Has anyone looked around? It's pretty nuts. It's like crazy.
That's like a whole nother conversation we should have at some point, but that's a fault line. I just want to say this since we're on this subject. It's a fault line that's getting triggered is the mental illness fault line.
Yeah.
Big time. Like we are in a mental illness crisis right now with everything that's been going on. But it's amazing because people are waking up.
Yes.
And that's like the shift we need to make in our brain. We have not evolved very far at all when it comes to understanding mental health.
No, you're so right. And do you consider yourself mentally ill in that lame world?
Yeah, if I were to, here's what I realized, because I've flat out wondered before if I'm crazy or if there's, and especially because I come from a cult background and all those things. And if you follow the mainstream narrative and the way they paint people like me and where we came from, it's so insulting on every level. And it's so far removed from any ounce of fucking reality because you haven't lived it,
Right.
And there's this elitism that goes with it. So I have a trigger around that, obviously. But I've wondered before, like, well, what if? Like, sometimes I get the logic of it. But according to the DSM, if you can track which reality you're in, even if you hear voices, even if you have hallucinations, if you can differentiate, this is the world that everyone else sees and that I'm in, and I recognize that no one else sees what I see, and this is my world, then you're not considered crazy.
Right.
So I guess crazy, I know, isn't really the piece.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Sorry, that was offensive to anyone.
No, I know what you mean.
But I think so. Technically, according to the DSM, I don't think I would be considered, but I think that maybe some people I know people would consider me kind of
totally, I mean, I think I'm over here with I'm so glad you brought this fault line up because I didn't even realize that I was one of the leaders on this fault line. I thought, and I say that leader word like proudly because it's like probably the number one thing I'm open about online. I have a lot of other fault lines I'm not as open up about, but it all leads back to the same thing. Mentally like unstable is what, you know, and like I don't give a shit who thinks I'm crazy anymore. Like, because I'm like, hold on. Most of the time, people who are calling mentally ill people or people with gnarly anxiety, like, you know, like you just have to do this or this or this or whatever. It's like, yeah, for this world that we fell upon. But like, if the world was surrounded imagine if a world was created around the way my brain works, all the people who are anxious as hell would feel so normal and everyone else would be on meds being more anxious. So it's just like, I think that like, I want to carry that flag like high and really make mental illness like, I want to bring tools, which is why this journal is coming out, but I also want to just bring truths with it, like with this little convo that we just had. It's just so beautiful. It carries the energy of like, you're good, like you're fine, you have to work through things, you know, but like also it's more fun. I like it.
It's way more fun.
It's way more fun.
I realized like when I disconnected from the world and when I really realized like I'm out, I will never work for anybody again in that way. Like I did all these declarations like that I'm so done with that world. And when I finally, like the transition was hard and you go through people wondering what the fuck you're doing and you don't care at all. And then you're so far removed. And then you start developing a community of people that are like you. And then people who aren't like you seem like the exception.
Right, I know.
And that's like where I'm at now. I have such a powerful community of people, and because I work with empaths and because of the Toxic Entrepreneur Experiment, I'm just I'm always having these kind of conversations. I'm always connecting with people who are gifted. I'm every day seeing people get activated. I'm having people reflect back to me their downloads and miracles. Like there are flat out Christ-like miracles happening in the world right now. Like none of it's being talked about, but it is an unbelievable time right now.
Yes.
Fucking believable, which is why the astrals are so active.
Right.
But kind of like full circle back to what we were saying, the rarity is when the people that are getting playful and tantric instead of like defensive and in war mode. And that's like the quickest way to identify what reality you're lining up to. And it's getting like this.
Right.
I feel like it's the parallel realities are becoming so far apart that at some point it's going to be almost impossible to shift.
100%. And what I love about YouTube is that let's say someone who used to think Amanda Flaker was fucking nuts when she first went to Sedona or whatever, who is going to say 40,000 people are also just absolutely nuts. You know, your subscribers, and I love about YouTube is because you can be a shadow subscriber. You can just watch it like you're watching TV and not actually want to be on YouTube. And you're just seen by Amanda. And that's what I love. So I love this conversation so much. I think I'm going to even hone in a little bit even more on, I think you gave me some gems as to my work too. Like being more, maybe my B+ work, which is being more on the nose and talking about things, is that mental struggle, because I'm telling you, for me, it's every day. It's every day. And I like it. At some points, I'm just like, I love you. Like, I get you. You know, sometimes it drives me nuts, but.
Well, if you want to, that's something, since everything that my partner and I went through in December, he's been feeling like he wants to be such an advocate for that now, because it's out of the blue for him. And talking about, I'm sure we're going to be talking about it publicly, because I think it will help people so much who go through. So I'm so down with talking about that more, of just talking about mental illness, because I think we're going to see it more and more too. And like I said, my therapist is the one who told me, he was saying that he has to turn people away now. Their clinic has to turn people away. It's been through the roof. Suicide's been through the roof. These are the things that, again, we're not talking about for some reason.
Oh, I got chills when you said that. Yeah. It's so true.
Big what's happening right now. And I think, again, what's valuable is meeting the need of humanity, and like the mind is unstable right now because our paradigms are shifting huge.
100%. That's why I got that download of free therapy for the masses. You know what I mean? I literally want to be like Oprah when she gave out all those cars. I just want to give it away. I want to give out tools that I've paid thousands and thousands of dollars for with my therapists. And just like send it, you know, and like obviously if it can just buffer until the whole financial system goes on a different head and we all understand that it's the most important thing is our mental health, you know. But so last question I want to ask you, like, to create something out of this. Like I'm going forward as like anytime we talk on YouTube, I'm creating like a playlist for you, and I'm just going to call it Astral Exploring, because I've been tuning into everything I do, including the plant medicine that I grow, and everything is telling me how it wants to show up in the world. Some things have said, I want to be quieter. Please stop talking about me so much. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's be quieter. This is like, I want to have like no structure, yet some. And so the free flow convo I love, and I just want to put it in a playlist, and I'm going to call it Astral Exploring with Amanda Flaker.
I like
and because it's just what we do. It's like almost it could be a show.